Near the end of life, everything can suddenly become clear. The mistakes, the regrets, the things we thought mattered, they all stand before you like shadows. I met a man once. His name was Harold. He was 79 years old, and I had been his friend for over 30 years. He was lying in his small apartment, sunlight barely reaching the corners. I could see in his eyes that he had things he needed to say. Harold took a deep breath and said, I spent my whole life chasing things that never made me feel full, never made me feel like I was enough. And that's when he began to tell his story. He grew up in a town where money was always tight. People judged you for what you didn't have. Harold told me about his father who worked long, hard hours. His hands were worn and rough, and when he came home, no one said thank you. I watched it all, Harold said, and I promised myself I'd never be invisible like that. I wanted people to notice me. I wanted respect. So he worked and he worked. Not just normal hours, long, exhausting hours. He missed birthdays, school plays, dinners. By the time he was 50, he had a title, a corner office, a fancy car. People called him Sir, and he felt nothing. Nothing, he whispered. I climbed to the top, and when I got there, it was just empty. For years, he didn't understand why. Then, slowly, he realized the truth. Harold wasn't chasing success, not really. He was chasing a feeling, validation, the sense that he mattered, that he was enough. He spent decades thinking that if he achieved enough, earned enough, or gained enough recognition, that feeling would come. But it never did. He told me about his marriage. He thought providing the house, the car, the vacations, the security, those were enough to make his wife happy, and she wasn't. She didn't need the things, Harold said softly. She needed me, my attention, my presence, and I wasn't there. I wasn't really there until it was almost too late. By the time he realized this, their children were grown, and the moments he missed could never come back. His wife forgave him, mostly, but some spaces remained empty, spaces only his presence could have filled. Harold looked out the window that morning and said something I'll never forget. Happiness isn't out there. It isn't in the paycheck, the title, or the car. It's here, inside you. And the moment you stop looking outside, you start to find it. He spoke about friends too. Some were still chasing, still comparing, still measuring themselves against others. He had a friend who at 85 still worried over the neighbor's lawn, still measured himself by the car he drove. Every day he carried that frustration like a heavy weight. Another friend, a woman named Marjorie, 78, spent her life listing what she didn't have. Calls from her kids, a bigger retirement fund, better health. Her unhappiness clung to her like a shadow. Then there were others, like Eleanor, 82. She had nothing spectacular by the world's standards, but she had everything that mattered. She smiled easily. She listened. She learned. She sat on her porch every morning with a cup of tea, noticing the world around her. Harold said, Eleanor doesn't chase anything. She doesn't try to prove herself to anyone. She's simply here. And there's a kind of freedom in that I never understood until too late. I asked him what freedom felt like. He smiled a little crooked smile, a little tired but full of clarity. Freedom, he said, is when the things that used to bother you don't anymore. When someone criticizes you, it rolls off. When you look in the mirror, you see yourself and you say, I'm okay, I'm enough. Real freedom doesn't come from what you have, it comes from knowing you already are. He paused, then whispered, I spent nearly 60 years chasing things that didn't matter. I thought if I just had them, I'd feel safe. I'd feel loved. I'd feel enough. But it was never in those things. It was in me all along. I could have given it to myself at 25, at 30, but I didn't. I had to learn the hard way. I remember him leaning back, closing his eyes and saying, if I could tell everyone one thing, it would be this: stop waiting. Stop saying, I'll be happy when. There is no perfect moment, no finish line. The happiness, the peace, the sense that you are enough, it's here, right now, and it's yours if you just let it be. Harold passed away a few weeks later. His apartment was quiet, filled with the stillness of someone who had finally understood what truly mattered. And even though he was gone, his words stayed with me. They echo every time I catch myself waiting for some future moment to start living. I think about all the people who are still running, still chasing, still believing the next milestone will bring them joy. And I wish they could hear Harold as I did, to understand that everything they're looking for, everything they're longing for, is already inside them. It's always been there. You just have to stop and notice it. So if you take one thing from Harold's story today, let it be this: you don't have to wait. You don't have to earn it. You are already enough. You are already worthy. You are already loved. Stop chasing. Start being. Start noticing. Start living. If this touched you, share it with someone who's still running, still searching. Tell them there's no finish line. Tell them that what they're looking for has been with them all along. And remember, you are enough right here, right now. And if you want to hear more stories like Harold's, stories that remind us what truly matters at the end of life, make sure to subscribe to Life's Last Words. We share these reflections so that none of us forget to live fully while we still can.